Hello everyone, you're welcome to this session. I remain your tutor, Mr. Life Changer, and here we are going to be looking at some questions on trigonometry, which is very important for those of you writing WAEC and those of you writing math in JAM, and also for undergraduates, the 100 level students. This is going to help you. Okay, so we start with the first one. The first one says, if sine x equals cos 2x plus 15, find the value of x where both are acute. Now, later I'm going to explain why you need to know this. Now, but whenever you see sine of an angle being equal to cos of another angle, it simply means that the two angles, this angle and this angle, are what we call complementary angles. We call them complementary angles. Complementary angles simply means angles that sum to give 90 degrees. So that means there are two ways to know that two angles are complementary. First of all is that the sum of the two angles must be equal to 90 degrees. Then secondly is that the sine of one of the angle must be equal to the cosine of the other angle. And you can try that with your calculator if you have your calculator there. If you try sine 20, it's going to give you exactly the same answer as cos 70 because 20 plus 70 is 90. If you try sine 30, you're going to get the same answer as cos 60. Now, if you try sine 1, you're going to get the same answer as cos 89, because 1 plus 89 is 90. You can use your calculator to confirm that. So whenever you see a setting like this, it means that these two angles are complementary. That means the sum of the two angles, x plus 2x plus 15, is equal to 90 degrees. Kindly note that. Very important. Okay, so x plus 2x is 3x plus 15 equal to 90. And so 3x, taking 15 to the other side, you have 90 minus 15. So 3x is going to be equal to 75. And so x is 75 over 3, and that's going to give us 25. So the answer x is 25 degrees. Quite easy. So the answer is B, right? Okay, so that's important for you to note. Now, we now have this one. It says, if tan x plus 20 is equal to cot x, and we are asked to find x. Now, I like to say this. In the same way sine and cos gives us complementary angles, that's the same way tan and cot gives us complementary angles. Now, I want you to notice that. I want you to observe that. Okay, that's very important. So here we can just simply say that x plus 20 is equal, plus x is equal to 90. So x plus x is 2x plus 20 equals 90. So 2x is equal to 90 minus 20 is 35. 90 minus 20 is 70. So x is going to be, divide both sides by 2. We're going to get x to be 35. So the answer is A, 35 degrees. I hope that makes sense. Now the third one says that angles on a straight line are this, this, and this. Calculate x. Now, since these three angles are on the same straight line, it means that the sum of the three angles, x plus 20 plus x minus 10, everything is going to be 180 because 180 is angles on a straight line. I hope it makes sense. So at this point, we can collect like terms. That means 2x, x, x. 2x plus x gives us 4x. Then plus here we have 10 plus 20 plus minus 10, that is 20, all equal to 180. And so we are going to have 4x is equal to 180 minus 20 is going to give us 160. And so we can say that x is equal to 160 divided by 4, which is equal to 40. So the answer is 40 degrees. B is the answer to that question. I believe this makes sense. Okay, so that leads us to the fourth question. Now, this one we have to be a bit careful. It says if sine theta is equal to 3 over 5 and theta is obtuse, kindly note the word obtuse. Very important. Find the value of cos theta plus tan theta. Now, whenever you are given a question like this, sine theta is 3 over 5, we can represent sine theta in a right angle triangle. Okay, a right angle triangle, we use the method SOHCAHTOA. I'm sure that this is not unfamiliar. So here means sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent, t is tangent, opposite over adjacent. Okay, so 3 over 5 is sine. That means 3 is opposite, 5 is adjacent, because sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Sorry. So let's assume that this is the angle here, theta. The opposite to the angle theta is this one, which is 3. And the hypotenuse is always the longest side, which is 5. So what is missing is the adjacent. So I can call it x. I hope this makes sense. So opposite is the side facing the given angle. Hypotenuse is the longest side. Then adjacent is this other side. Now if you look at this, this is related by Pythagoras theorem. That means the square of the hypotenuse squared, is equal to the opposite squared plus the adjacent squared. So you should know that hypotenuse squared is equal to the square of the opposite plus the adjacent squared. Okay, very important, please. So 25 squared is 25, equals 3 squared is 9 plus x squared. And so 25 minus 9 is equal to x squared. 16 is equal to x squared. So x is equal to 4. So that means here we are going to have x to be equal to 4. Very, very important. Okay, so at this point now, we can, since we have found this missing value, it is easy to know what cos theta is and also to know what tan theta is. It's very important to note. That means cos theta is going to be equal to cos, from what we have here, cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent is 4, hypotenuse is 5, so I'm going to say 4 over 5. Then tan theta is, tan is opposite over adjacent, so opposite is 3. You see that? Adjacent is 4, so that's going to be 3 over 4. I believe that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so at this point we can say, but I want you to notice something. If this angle was acute angle simply means an angle that is less than 90 degrees. If this angle was acute, then I would have used this value the way it is. But it is dangerous for saying the angle is obtuse. For you to know what to do here, you need to draw your quadrat. Obtuse angles means angles that are greater than 90 and less than 180, meaning that they belong to the second quadrant. Because in your quadrat, I'm going to be explaining quadrat as we continue. In your quadrat is 270, this is 360, this is where the angle is. And we use all silly Tomcat, or you say cast, or you say act, ACTS, any of them. Now the reason for this symbol is to let you know that any angle in the first quadrant, all of them are positive. But in the second quadrant, only sine is positive. Sine is positive. In the third quadrant, only tangent is positive. And in the fourth quadrant, only cosine is positive. Please note this. So obtuse angle means angles in the second quadrant. And in the second quadrant, it is only sine that is positive. So what that means is that cosine here is negative, tangent here is negative. So this is supposed to carry a negative sign, and this is supposed to carry a negative sign. Please note this. Very, very important. So the reason why cos theta and tan theta carries negative sign is because the angle theta is obtuse. If the angle was acute, then we don't need that. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so now this is now going to be cos theta plus tan theta is going to be minus 4 over 5 plus minus 3 over 4. Okay, if you open the bracket, it's still going to be minus 4 over 5 minus 3 over 4. And the LCM is 20. 20 divided by 5 is 4. 4 times this is negative 16. 4 in 20 is 5. 5 times 3 is minus 15. So minus 16 minus 15 is minus 31 over 20. That's the answer to this question. Yes. So you see that this is quite very important, and we are going to be looking at quadrants very soon, so that will help you appreciate this. Okay, now look at the next one, the number 5 question. It says, given sine theta to be equal to root 3 over 2, calculate cos 2 theta. The same thing we just did, exactly the same thing. And so in this case here, let's draw our Pythagoras theorem, our right angle triangle, or we call it right triangle. And let's say this is theta here. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, like we said. That means this is root 3 and hypotenuse here is 2. So we don't know what adjacent is. Very important. Okay, so that means that we can find this very quickly. Your x is going to be this might not be necessary here, since this is 2 theta. We can do this in some other way. We can just simply say sine theta being equal to root 3 over 2. That means theta can be sine inverse of root 3 over 2. Since root 3 over 2 is a special angle, or will I say, yeah, a special angle. So sine inverse of root 3 over 2 is going to be 60 degrees, definitely 60 degrees. Okay, so if theta is 60 degrees, it means that 2 theta is going to be 2 times 60, and which is equal to 120 degrees. You see that? So that means if I'm to find cos 2 theta, is the same thing as saying cos 120 degrees. And cos 120 degrees, don't forget that 120 degrees is an obtuse angle. That means it's between 90 and 180. So the answer is definitely going to be negative. So the answer is going to be minus negative 1 over 2. And moreover, you have a calculator, so you can just simply check cos 120, it is negative 1 over 2. Or cos 120 is the same thing as minus cos 60. I'm going to come to that later. So this is what we have here. Now somebody is asking, why didn't we go on with this method? Now if we went on with this method, we are going to get it, but it's going to be complex. It's easy to get, but it's going to be complex. That's because except for those of you in 100 level, 200 level, then I can teach you that. But if you're writing WAEC JAM, you don't need to know that. You just need to know the step that I penned down. Okay, yeah, so that leads us to the 6th one, number 6. Or let me stop here. Okay, so let's call it let's stop here. I'm going to continue this in another video. Okay, so see you in my next video. Thank you very much.